Good afternoon, grinders. This is your NBA SimLabs analysis for Monday, March 3rd. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka BlenderHD. If you're going to follow me on Twitter, give me that thumbs up before we talk about this 7-game slate tonight. Hit that thumbs up button. You know how much I like the thummy thumbs. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. Remember, NBA things happen throughout the day. We got all these Q tags. People get ruled out. Who knows? Sometimes a little bit of afterlock. So you got to tune into Grinders Live later today, 5 p.m. Eastern, followed by Crunch Time. They'll have all of your updates and answer all of your questions live in chat. We got Ja Morant with the Q tag. We got Paul George with the Q tag. We got Alperen Sengun Q tag. Holmgren is doubtful. And remember, Domantas Sabonis is out. So Valanciunas will start at center. He'll be one of the more popular value plays today. We got Alec Burks at 3,300 as a popular value play today for Miami. Cade Cunningham, Tyler Hero, popular plays at guard today. It seems like a lot of the higher projected point per dollar values are in the guard slots. But we do have like someone like Malik Beasley for the Pistons. The Pistons have 121 point implied total. We got the Hawks Grizzlies game with a very high total as well. So yeah, Malik Beasley is going to be someone that may be in a lot of lineups, especially because he's eligible at both a guard and a forward position. On DraftKings, you really need to pay attention to positional eligibility, and that'll kind of determine maybe if someone goes a little bit more owned than they should be or less owned than they should be. Typically, the centers tend to be a little less owned than you would figure, especially like the second tier ones, because the center only fills in 2 spots on DraftKings lineup, right? The center spot and the regular utility spot. The guards could fill in, if they're shooting guard, plus the guard utility, plus the regular utility. And then once someone like Malik Beasley, who's shooting guard and small forward eligible, he could fit into the shooting guard spot. He'd fit into the small forward spot, fit into the guard utility spot, fill into the forward utility spot and the regular utility spot. That's 5 spots. So he may be a little overowned today, maybe just due to that reason. But let's take a look at the Sims. We have it updated as of 1:01 p.m. Remember, you should be using this closer to lock when more news comes in. This gets updated throughout the day. Our projections get updated for players, for ownership, all of our sims. We run 10,000 plus simulations of the games and the contests that you play with, with the simulated lineups that you should expect to see in your contests, and it'll grade what lineups stand to have the highest EV. So if you want to build competitive lineups, this is the quickest way to do so here on RotoGrinders. So I have a large field contest selected, low results range. It's a 7-game slate. I don't know how far off the board we necessarily have to go on a 7-game slate. Far off the board, meaning playing, a guy that's like 0.5% owned that is only going to play 18 minutes. Once you use the high results range, especially in the large field contest, you get a lot of very contrarian lineups. I'm not necessarily sure you need to do that today. But let's run 150 because you can do that. You can go up to 150 in SimLabs and just let's see what shows up. Let's just see what shows up. Because it's not just pressing, what's the best lineup? Like there's no best lineup. Any lineup that really is like rated like 60 or ish higher in our regular SimLabs rating they're all good lineups. They're all good lineups. But I ran 150, and you could go to this exposures tab and see like how many lineups have each player, right? And we also have teams as well as stacks. That'll come more into play during baseball season. But we see here Alec Burks in 67% of lineups, Valanciunas 57%, Cade Cunningham 45%, Najee Marshall 42%, Malik Beasley 35%, Jaren Jackson 30%, and so forth down from here. So yeah, Alec Burks 26 minutes we have him projected for, 3,300. Probably a little bit of a volatile play. I mean, as volatile as you could get for a $3,300 player. How the Heat distribute their minutes at the wings could be a little wider range of outcomes, and depending on how many shots you can get off. So you don't have to play Burks. You don't have to play someone like Valanciunas. I think Valanciunas will be very popular. We have him projected for 29 minutes at 5,400, with the Kings having a 117-point total as a 2-point road favorite over Dallas. That seems like a good spot, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to play all these guys like together, right? So you can choose who you want to play, who you don't want to play. You don't have to just, okay, here's this lineup, 94.74. I'm playing it. Let's do it, right? Because you can scroll down and there's all these lineups. Oh, look at the green bars. All these lineups are pretty good. It's not just about selecting the players, it's about selecting the lineup. So if we go back to our settings, we could choose to say, okay, I want to take a look at, let's just put in just 5 lineups, right? 5 or 10 lineups, and go, what do the lineups look like that don't have like Alec Burks in them, that you're not spending for a $3,300 player? Like, what do they look like? So if you decided today you wanted to fade Alec Burks, I'm going to run 10 lineups under this configuration and see what shows up. So we still have Cade Cunningham, Max Christie. We have Haywood Highsmith. Instead, well, essentially that's kind of negatively correlated, right? If Burks has a bad game, it's quite possible Haywood Highsmith basically got his shots, right? You got Adebayo there, Valanciunas, Beasley, Keyshawn George, Jalen Duren. A lot of Pistons today, which, I mean, obviously it makes sense with a high point total. Obviously, also, if John Morant is out, we're going to get a lot more value on the Grizzlies side. But you can see here, like, look, 91, 89, 84, 83. I mean, all these lineups are pretty good here. But most likely they're going to contain Pistons. This lineup doesn't. So if you played more Portland and the Warriors, and there's a little bit more contrarian here with Draymond Green in the center spot with Valanciunas. Like, you could even say, like, okay, I want to take a look at lineups that don't have Burks or Valanciunas in it and see what shows up here. So you're like fading 2 of the more popular plays, especially in the value end of the spectrum. You see the ratings are a little bit lower, but there are, especially since it's large field contests, these being contrarian is going to be a little bit more valuable. In single entry, maybe you wouldn't fade both Burks and Valanciunas, but there are paths here. You can see here you're playing like someone like Najee Marshall. I mean, Cade Cunningham comes up in a ton of these lineups, regardless. Same for Malik Beasley. But let's say you do the opposite. Let's say you fade Cade Cunningham. Like, if you fade Cade Cunningham, you're much more likely to get Valanciunas and Burks in your lineup. And much more likely probably get Tyler Hero in your lineup as well, or Adebayo. Right here. Here's this first lineup right here, rated 90. Right, we got Beasley, Duren, Schroeder, and now you play Trae Young. So basically, Trae Young is kind of in the spot of where Cade Cunningham, the pay-up guard. In this lineup, you're getting, like Jaren Jackson, Paul George, obviously SGA, right? SGA isn't going to be nearly as owned as he probably should be on a slate like this against Houston, right? OKC has 119.5 point implied total. So you can see here, you're still playing Burks and Valanciunas are showing up, maybe not on the first lineup. You got Burks and Adebayo in this lineup with Trae Young. Here in lineup 3, you're getting Valanciunas and you're getting Haywood Highsmith in this lineup. And this is with Paul George, assuming he plays today. Remember, if Paul George is out, obviously there's going to be much more value on some of the other 76ers players. But all these lineups rate out pretty well. So if you want to, today you wanted to decide to, like, well, I'm not going to play Cade Cunningham. Like, well, what do these lineups look like? If you can choose, like, I'm not going to play Alec Burks. What do these lineups look like? I'm not going to play Malik Beasley. Let's say we fade Malik Beasley. Let's say we fade Beasley and Cunningham, right? Let's say we fade the Pistons. What do those lineups look like? Right? If we fade Jalen Duren or Dennis Schroeder, so let's put in Schroeder. Let's put in Duren. Is there anyone else that comes up a lot for the Pistons that we could put in here? So let's say you wanted to fade the Pistons altogether. You could put this right into SimLabs. Go, I'm going to include these 4 players, and I'm going to run, 20 lineups with this configuration, low results range, large contest field. And what do these lineups look like that have no Pistons in it? Okay, look, I mean, very good rated lineups. Look, 92, 90, 87, 84. This first one up here, Tyler Hero, Alec Burks, Jalen Williams, Najee Marshall, Okongwu, LeVert, DeRozan, Valanciunas. I mean, perfectly viable, right? And these have Alec Burks in it, right? Alec Burks is here, Jonas Valanciunas there. This next one, we got Alec Burks, Jonas Valanciunas. Jonas Valanciunas. This one has Alec Burks also. So you can see here, if you're fading the Pistons, you're probably playing Alec Burks. You're probably playing Tyler Hero. You're probably playing Jonas Valanciunas. You're probably playing these guys in the lineup. And instead of playing Malik Beasley, you're probably throwing in someone like a Najee Marshall, right? Especially if you're playing Kings in your lineup, right? If you want to kind of get, more Mavericks Kings game into your lineup versus Detroit, you're probably not playing Jazz. You're probably not, but you could. And then we got if you're playing the Hawks, probably be a little bit more beneficial to play the Grizzlies, especially if Ja Morant is out. So you could choose how to use SimLabs this way. This is not a press a button, get a lineup, and it's the best lineup, and no questions about it. This lineup one is better than lineup two. Like, no. This is a way for you to find lineups. They're already made. We've already simulated everything out. Find lineups that have the configurations that are the highest EV in the ways that you want to play them, right? If you want to play Malik Beasley, but not play Alec Burks, you can put that in, right? If you want to play Cade Cunningham, but you don't want to play let's say Nkankou or someone like that, like we could put this stuff in, right? Onyeka, whatever. I mean, you can make that decision. You can choose the opposite. But what do the lineups look like, the rest of the lineups, and how do they rate if you have that certain configuration? So if we put in this configuration with locking in Beasley and Cunningham, excluding Burks and Nkankou, what do the lineups look like? Well, we have Cade Cunningham, Max Christie, Highsmith, Adebayo, Valanciunas, Beasley, George Durant, right? Lineup 2, which is very close. Look, you have Podziemski, Oubre, Williams, Highsmith, Valanciunas, Cunningham, Marshall, Beasley. Look how much different these two lineups are from each other, right? You have Cade Cunningham in both. You have Malik Beasley in both. And then you take a look here. You have Highsmith in both. And that's it. Everything else is a 5v5, right? One has Kelly Oubre. The other has Max Christie. One has Najee Marshall. The other has Keyshawn George, right? But they rate about the same. Essentially the same. You could choose one of the other. It's like, well, I don't want to play Keyshawn George. Okay, so play Najee, play this lineup. Here you go. This lineup is Jalen Williams. He'll probably be pretty low owned today for a 7-game slate. But you can go down here, you can see another lineup. This one has Anthony Simons and Denny Advija, right? And has Dennis Schroeder in it also with the Pistons, right? Here's another 3 Pistons with Oscar Thompson in this spot instead. But I mean, there's going to be if we look at the exposures tab, right, just for these 20 lineups. You could see that, Cade Cunningham, Malik Beasley, Jonas. Well, obviously we've locked in Cunningham and Beasley, but Joe Val appears in like nearly all of these lineups, right? Even if we go back to, let's say we go to the draft, the dashboard again, and let's say we look for a configuration where we're not playing Alec Burks, right? We're not playing Alec Burks, and we're not playing Cade Cunningham, and we want 150 lineups. And what do those lineups look like? You decide to fade both of those. And let's say you choose to play Malik Beasley. Let's just say you choose. You're not going to play Cunningham, but you're going to play Malik Beasley for the Pistons. Here's 150 lineups. What do they look like? Maybe you don't choose the specific lineups that you want, but let's see what the exposures look like. What are this combination? What players appear more in the combinations that we're looking for? So we see here, Jalen Duren shows up a lot, right? Jonas Valanciunas, obviously, 36% of the lineups. But Jalen Duren, it's like basically if you don't play Cade Cunningham, lineups that do well when Cade Cunningham doesn't hit a ceiling, Jalen Duren is more likely to hit a ceiling, right? You have a lot more Najee Marshall in here, much more Podziemski in here. You have Paul George in here, obviously, also, right? And then once you start getting into the 20s, then it's kind of spread out from there. So you could use SimLabs as a research tool, even if you're just building one lineup, even if you're building 5 lineups for large field, and just figure what combinations are much more likely to give you a higher return based on our simulations. rather than just simply, just plug and play and say, I'm going to play this guy, I'm going to play that guy, I'm going to play this guy, I'm going to play that guy. And next thing you know, you're stuck. You got a guard spot and you need a $4,700 player, and you're just like playing some random guy in that spot. That's not the best way to build lineups. The best way to build lineups is to use our projections, our ownership, our simulations in SimLabs, and you see how quick this works. You see how quick you go through this, right? I'm explaining everything through. I could use SimLabs in a span of 3 minutes. If I'm looking for 3 lineups to play tonight, I'm using SimLabs here at RotoGrinders. Takes me 3 minutes. I do it close to lock, so it has all the information. And bang, bang, boom, I'm in. You could choose to play. I'm going to play one Cade Cunningham lineup. I'm going to play one non-Cade Cunningham lineup. And then I'm going to play one Valanciunas lineup, one non-Valanciunas lineup. And they're all going to look a little bit differently. And SimLabs is going to tell me what the combinations of players in those configs, based on what I want to play, what do they look like? And you can get SimLabs here on RotoGrinders as part of the Combo Light package, $29.99 a month. You get full access to SimLabs for all the 4 major sports: NBA, MLB, PGA, NFL, all of our databases like Plate IQ, Court IQ, Weather Edge, even though it doesn't matter in NBA, but it will in MLB, and all of our premium articles and content for the 4 major sports. So go to rotogrinders.com/premium or click the link in the description to sign up today, and hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. If you're not going to do that, at least, right? Least you can do is give me the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I'll be back tomorrow for another NBA SimLabs analysis here on RotoGrinders.